Hi, welcome back from break. It's week 9. I want you to concentrate on two things. You made right before break a plan for your white paper. We're going to get into some research for that white paper as well as considering a little more deeply than we did in the very beginning of the semester audience and ethics when writing in a business setting. I have opened up some of these links already, but audience analysis, you can see just what Writing Commons has to say in regards to how to analyze their needs, looking at a few different audiences and how that might influence the way that we are putting that particular piece of writing together. But I want you to just go through that. I want you to go through the next link, which is also from Writing Commons, but it lets you think about what you should be thinking about when writing for a particular audience. So, how to communicate effectively, persuasively, what kind of tone and language and appeals you should be using, and it breaks it down a little bit further. Then I have you, I'm going to come back to this annotated bib assignment, but I have you thinking about ethical writing in the workplace. I've got a slide share for you for that. Just some considerations with being honest, truthful, fair in representing your topic, the issues surrounding it, and then I've also got in the Society for Technical Communication, just ethical principles, thinking of again the legality, the confidentiality, quality. Talked about fairness, the professionalism. I want you to just, like I said, familiarize yourself with all of these aspects because all of these are going to be important key components of this white paper. I do have 4 pages out of a chapter in business communications textbook, and you can look at that. Here, let me just click on that for you here. But what I want you to start, obviously, where I place the arrow, but I want you to think, about mainly. I want you to look at Figure 1.10, which is basically a problem with ethics and memo that stretches honesty and integrity. And then I want you to look at a much better representation in the next figure. So read through those 2 memos. And then these are the things that you want to think about. These questions are the questions that you want to be able to consider to ensure that you're communicating in an ethical manner. So I really want you to look over those as well. All right, now let's talk about that annotated bibliography assignment because for your due section here, you're going to need to turn in the annotated bib, a separate references page, and participate in discussion forum number 8. So let's look at the annotated bib assignment. What you have here is what I want you to do is simply, remember, I wanted you to have 2 scholarly journal articles, but I also wanted you to, you could have up to 4 sources for this particular paper. What I want you to think about is obviously ones that allow us to understand whatever the particular issue you're going to write about, whether it's in a workplace setting or in an academic setting, and what can provide you with the background for that. So the scholarly research, as well as, here I'm asking you to do 2 scholarly and 1 additional, but you can have up to 4 sources for this particular paper. You don't have to do more than 3 for this annotated bibliography. The annotated part is simply to write a summary, the equivalent of a 1-page double-spaced summary of the key points of that source. And within each summary, I want you to include the strongest rhetorical appeal of the article's purpose, and the article's intended audience. And finally, how the article will impact your audience. So I want you to make sure that you add those details as you move through each of these summaries. And you can see that if this were double spaced and on a regular page, it would be about the equivalent of 1 page. If you single space, you can have a half page. I don't need the sources cited according to APA format. You're going to do that on a separate references page. But again, you're just setting up the notes, and I want you to include all of these parts. This is due on Sunday, March 4th. Now, separately, I want you to turn in a references page. page. That references page will just simply be in APA format, starting with the word references, and it should have alphabetical, double spaced, using a hanging indentation and using APA format, those three sources. And like I said, you're welcome to use a fourth if you want me to look at the fourth source and put that onto the references page, or if you even want to, for yourself, include the details of that source by summarizing it in the same way. But you're only required in both things, the annotated bib and the references page, to have three sources. And then the final thing that I want you to do is I want you to participate in discussion forum number 8, also due on March 4th. I want you to, consider, after all that we've read, how you can build an audience, or what it means to have an audience-centered approach, as well as embed ethical communication practices. I want you to go to the Twitter-based customer service comments between JetBlue and their passengers. I want you to choose one conversation, screenshot that conversation, and then answer the questions, these 3 questions below it. That is going to be your first post. Then I want you to respond to 2 classmates by commenting on their assessment of JetBlue's conversation with its passenger. And then I want you to include a screenshot of a Twitter-based communication from another airline. So basically you can just, look up customer service communications Southwest, or customer service communications. You'll want to obviously Google Twitter in that particular search, but you can look for maybe a better one or even a worse one and explain your choice just briefly. If you have questions about any of these assignments, don't hesitate to ask.